So I have a picture of a koi, and you don't have to copy the same koi as me. You could look, there's so many photographs of koi that you could look at, okay, that you could kind of sort of reference. You can paint koi from the top like that, swimming. Doesn't really matter to me, okay? That's actually a painting of koi, not a real photograph. So I'd rather use a real photograph. So I've got the one saved on my computer, okay? Step number one, okay? And this is gonna be a practice one, so don't freak out, okay? We're not going for like total perfection. Step number one is we're gonna sketch it, quote unquote, but instead of sketching it with pencil, we're gonna sketch it with watercolor, but I wanna start with a really, really, really light color so that if I do mess up, I can cover it up later with a darker color. So I started with black, but y'all notice, what am I adding a lot of to my black? Okay, I'm adding a lot of water to my black, which means that my black is going to be like a light color. Do y'all see what I'm saying? And it would be even lighter if my water wasn't so dirty. So, you know, one thing that is important with watercolor is, you know, you do have to kind of change your water frequently. But because we're about to have a fire drill and we're running really low on time, I'm trying to do this quickly. Okay, so I'm gonna look at my picture and I'm gonna kind of start at the head of the koi fish. And what I want you to try to find is like what in figure drawing we call the essential line, which is like the line that would go almost like his spine of the fish from the middle of the fish and go down. And go ahead and very lightly paint in that essential line on your paper. Okay, and then from that essential line, okay, I'm looking at my photograph. Okay, I'm gonna try to kind of very lightly, and again, because I might not put everything in the right place the first time, but I'm just gonna kind of very lightly draw, except I'm not drawing, I'm painting, but draw / paint the koi's body around. But see how it's a very light color because I added so much water? Logan, are you doing this? Okay. Well, you're gonna run out of time. I would just either, first of all, we have blow dryers, or you can go on the other page, or you can just turn it. It doesn't matter. Okay, well then hit it with the hair dryer. It's right behind you. It's purple, it's plugged in. You probably just don't see it because it's behind the paper cutter. Okay. And then I'm gonna kind of find like, okay, I probably put his eye in a little bit of the wrong spot, so I might move it a little. Okay, I'm gonna sketch out, he's got like a fin right here that comes out. He's got another fin up here that kind of comes out. I know my projector is being really light because of my shadow. And then he's got like a tail fin, which is being blocked by the other fish, but I'm gonna add it in. So see how I'm doing that with just real light watercolor paint? Y'all see what I'm saying? I got the fish kind of blocked out, but it's very, very, very watered down. Everyone kind of sort of following me? Yes, no, maybe so?
Yeah.
Okay. And then from there, I'm going to add my colors. So I might start, this particular koi fish has kind of a red-orange color. So I'm going to take my red and my orange, and I'm going to mix them together to kind of get like a custom. I really want that nice fiery orange color. Okay. And then I'm just going to use my brush, and I'm kind of following the sketch that I made. I'm going to use my brush and kind of color in or blot in where that color goes. And where that color goes is kind of different depending on which koi fish or which painting I chose. This particular koi fish has a bunch of orange on his head, but then he's got a little bit of orange kind of further back on his body, around kind of around where his fin is. And there's like a little flick of an orange here. He's mostly white though, and then he's got kind of some black spots. So I'll wash my brush out and switch to black. And kind of do almost sort of like stippling here, because I'm trying to make it look like the koi fish has scales. So I'm kind of putting that black shape down because that's what I'm seeing. You know, kind of like that. I can paint his eye, but it's wet right now. So if I paint his eye, it might bleed a little bit. So I'm actually going to wait a little bit before I paint his eye, but I'm going to go ahead and put like a black mark kind of here. So it's like I gave myself a really light sketch, and now I'm treating it almost kind of sort of like a coloring book. And I'm trying to come in and get my colors kind of started. On the bottom of his body, he has like this shadow with some scales. So I'm going to make a lighter gray color, and I'm going to kind of test it over here. So it's not black. See, that's black. And I can come into his body and I can do little marks like this on the underside to show that he's got some scales and some shadows down there under his fin. And I'm going to slowly kind of work my way up to like outlining him eventually. So I'm putting those little scales on the bottom of his body. And I'm going to use that same gray color. Sometimes we might have a little, some of your goldfish, some of the scales might actually have little swishes or flicks like that. But I'm going to do little dagger strokes, kind of like that. And I'm going to come, if you look where the fin is, see how the fin has those little kind of frills on it? I'm going to come to the edge of the fin, and I'm going to start to imply the texture of the fin with little thin dagger strokes like that. I can do around his face a little bit. Maybe I want to start to outline him a little bit. Oops, I accidentally went to him. What?
I can show you something.
Who are you?
Samuel.